Hey everybody, this is AP Macro 2019 FRQ set 1, question number 3. Let's get to it. Assume that households in econ land increase their savings for retirement. Using a correctly labeled graph of the loanable funds market, so let's get a correctly labeled graph of the loanable funds market. So loanable funds market, what's the price of loanable funds? That is the real interest rate. Of course, if it's a market, we want price right there. What are we going to put on the horizontal? Well, it's the loanable funds market. We want quantity of loanable funds. Quantity of loanable funds, and of course the upward sloping curve is the supply of loanable funds, and the downward sloping curve is the demand for loanable funds. So we've got the suppliers of loanable funds and demanders of loanable funds. Show how an increase in savings will affect the equilibrium real interest rate. Guys, here's the thing. Household savings is definitely a supply of loanable funds. Households are suppliers of loanable funds because they are net savers. When we look at the economy as a whole and we aggregate all households together, households are net savers. That makes them suppliers of loanable funds. They are taking funds to the banks, allowing banks to go loan that money out. So they are supplying loanable funds to the financial markets so that people can now borrow that money. So if we have an increase in household savings, we are absolutely shifting the supply of loanable funds to the right. Increase in the supply of loanable funds. Sub-0, sub-1. Now, what's going to happen to the equilibrium? It's going to move from there over to here, and more importantly, what is happening to the interest rate? Interest rate original, here's my new interest rate. The real interest rate is going down, and I definitely want to show that on my graph. What's happening to that real interest rate is going down when we get this increase in household savings. All right, moving on to 3B. Based solely on the real interest rate change identified in Part A, what would happen to econ land's purchases of foreign assets explained? Okay, so now I've got this little model right here. I've got econ land over here, I got the rest of the world right there. We know in the financial markets in econ land, the interest rate has gone down, right? So if the interest rate has gone down, that's going to make it so financial assets in econ land pay less. The return on financial assets in econ land is going to be less. So where is money going to flow? It's going to flow out of econ land to the rest of the world, and we're going to go buy financial assets in the rest of the world, right? So econ land is going to go buy those financial assets. What do I mean? Those stocks and bonds over here, because they're going to have a higher return because of that interest rate dropping in econ land. So let's just make sure we've got it. What's going to happen to the purchase of foreign assets? It's going to increase. Again, we're buying stocks and bonds over there. Those are what they mean by the foreign assets. Explain. We're going to get a higher return over here than in econ land because the interest rate in econ land has gone down. So we're going to seek out a higher return on our savings, basically. And the way we're going to do that is going to the rest of the world. So that's the explanation. Moving on to C, 3C. Consider the foreign exchange market for econ land's currency. Now again, they're not saying draw it, they're just simply saying consider it. But I am going to draw it just to make it easy. Based on your answer to Part B, okay, remember that's going to the rest of the world to buy their foreign assets or financial assets. Based on your answer in Part B, what will happen to the international value of ecoland or econ land's currency? Okay, so we don't know what that currency is called, so I'm just going to make up a name. I'm just going to call it econ, symbol capital E, right? So I'm going to say, hey, we got our foreign currency per one econ. Here's our quantity of econ. Remember, I'm just making that the name of the currency. Supply of econs, demand for econs. They want to know what's going to happen to this currency, econ land's currency. Well, again, if they want to go buy those financial assets abroad, they're going to have to supply their currency, right? And when they supply more of their currency, shift it to the right, supply sub-1, that's my sub-0. What's going to happen to the value of econ land's currency? It is going to go down. And by the way, guys, the demand for econ land's currency would also decrease, or would decrease, which would also cause it to depreciate. Why would the demand for econ land's currency depreciate? Because people in the rest of the world would not want to come here as much anymore with their financial capital because the return is now less. So they're going to keep more of their money here. Therefore, they will demand less econs, or whatever you want to call them. So that demand curve will shift to the left. So both shiftings of the curve would cause econ's currency to depreciate. I think that gives us our answer for C1. What would happen to international value? We've got it. C2, based on your answer in C1, that the currency depreciated, would Econland's central bank buy or sell its currency in the foreign exchange market to offset the change in the value of the currency? So this is about offsetting the change in value of the currency. The currency has depreciated, so here's the central bank going to intervene in the currency markets, okay, by either buying or selling their own currency, all right? And again, they want to offset it, so they want to appreciate it. They want to get it back to where it was before. So are they going to sell their currency? That would shift the supply curve even further right, causing it to depreciate more. Answer no. Or would they buy their currency, right? Demand their currency. So yes, they would definitely demand buy their currency, shift the demand curve to the right, trying to get, let's see here, if they could just get that curve to shift to right there, they could bring that currency value back up. So they would definitely buy, i.e. demand their currency in the currency markets. Anyhow, hope that made sense to you. We'll see you in another video.